Can luxury fashion survive on what society discards? In just a few days, I'm heading to Hyper Japan, the UK's biggest Japanese culture festival, to test a high stakes business experiment. In Japan, millions of pounds of handcrafted silk kimono are thrown away every year. I'm risking my savings to turn that historical fabric waste into modern fashion, putting the philosophy of mottainai, wasting nothing, to the ultimate test. Over the next 30 minutes, you'll see the entire journey from deconstructing vintage silk in my studio to facing real values on the market floor to see if ethical upcycling can actually sustain a full-time creator. Right, now let's get into the actual production and inventory strategy. Online, my high-ticket items like scarves, jackets, and haori perform best. But for in-person markets, smaller, tactile accessories like bangles, scrunchies, and keychains are what actually drive volume. Even though I had base stock ready, I needed to craft specific items to balance the color palette for our table display. For keychains, I had plenty of bright white and pink stock, so I specifically picked dark and embroidered scraps from my scrap bin to balance the visual variety. To be honest, the keychains weren't even my original idea. Back at my very first market stall in 2024, the owner of the booth next to mine was looking over my table. She said, "Your pieces are gorgeous, but you need an accessible entry point, and you must be generating so many small fabric scraps from your larger builds." She was completely right. By taking those tiny leftover kimono cuttings and turning them into keychains, I could create an affordable item for buyers while keeping my production strictly zero waste. The secret to making a small piece feel premium comes down to precision. Silk from vintage kimono is delicate and can shift easily. I use a rotary cutter for crisp lines, but the iron is where the magic happens. Pressing every single seam flat ensures we use every scrap of fabric efficiently, while giving the strap a structure that lasts. The final detail is one people might not notice consciously, but they definitely feel it. Thread matching. I swap out my thread for every single batch to make the exact tone of the fabric. It takes extra time, but that single detail changes the entire finish. Taking a simple scrap and giving it a clean, sophisticated, luxury feel. For bangles, I selected navy patterns and pastel silk scraps. Bangle fabric is surprisingly tricky. Some fabrics wrap smoothly, while others are brutal to work with. I actually filmed a full breakdown of this fabric selection and production process for my Patreon members this week if you want to dive deeper. Next, I looked at dead stock from past years. I found headbands from 2 Christmases ago that had loose elastic. They were tucked away in the back of my storage, never uploaded online. I took the time to replace the elastic so they could finally be sold. I also found a purple scrunchie that I'd accidentally sewn with white thread. It looked messy, so I unpicked it and restitched it with matching purple thread, turning unsold or flawed inventory into sellable goods is the heart of mottainai. And then there's this piece, This is a light blue kimono featuring a traditional flowing water, ryusui pattern. I received it from a kimono shop 2 years ago when I first started this business. Over time, I turned parts of it into scarves, scrunchies, and bows that found new homes long ago. But this haori jacket remained with me. It's gorgeous, but because it's a full haori, the price point was high. So it sat on a hanger, gradually getting creased. Last year at Trafalgar Square's Japan Matsuri, a visitor asked if I had a scrunchie made from this exact water pattern. That interaction stayed in my mind for months. A beautiful garment sitting unused on a hanger goes against everything I stand for. So I took the leap. I deconstructed both sleeves to create 6 limited edition flowing water scrunchies. Will people buy them this weekend? We're about to find out. Before packing a single box, I had to analyze my sales data and mistakes from last year's Hyper Japan. Last year, I used a U-shaped layout with 4 tables, creating a walk-in space in the middle. I spent so much table space displaying high-end bags, scarves, and haori, but the sales data showed a harsh reality. Those high-ticket items didn't sell nearly as well as expected. What actually sold best were the bangles and scrunchies placed right on the front edge facing the main aisle. At a massive convention with hundreds of stalls, first impressions are everything. This year, I completely scrapped the U-shape. I'm placing tables directly at the front perimeter. Items priced over £50 will be limited to just a few showcase pieces. While impulse buys like bangles, keychains, and scrunchies get prime real estate. Another huge takeaway from last year. Dozens of visitors asked if they could buy raw vintage fabric scraps for crafting, but I wasn't prepared and lost all those potential sales. This year I'm ready. I've packed 100-gram scrap bags, sorted by color and material, separating heavy obi silk from lighter kimono silk. These are actually one of my best sellers online for crafters and gift givers. I'm also bringing larger fabric rolls, complete with cutting mats and clearly tagged lengths and price labels. Clear pricing avoids awkward back and forth chatter and keeps the buying experience stress-free for both the customer and me. Right, let's also talk about pricing strategy, because this is crucial. Last year, I considered discounting items for the market, but dropping prices lowers your brand perception and undermines the entire handmade artisan community. Even single piece I sell is hand-selected and hand-stitched. I want customers who value that culture and labor. Furthermore, because I operate an online store year-round, keeping market prices consistent with my website protects long-term customer trust. To give you an idea of the stock breakdown for this weekend, for our smaller impulse items, I've packed 70 keychains at £20 each, 100 scrunchies ranging from £20 to £35, 20 headbands at £35 to £45, and 40 bangles between £45 and £65. I also put together 15 curated fabric remnant sets priced from 20 to 35 pounds. For medium items, we have 10 handcrafted pouches at 85 pounds each. And finally, our hero statement pieces like our high-end bags, upcycled, haori, and denim jackets. We have 20 units priced at 120 to 250. Altogether, that brings our total inventory value on the table to over £12,400. On the flip side, my upfront store fee alone comes in at £1,128. When you add in fabric sourcing, import fees, travel and display gear, my total sunk cost for this weekend hits around £1,500. To break even on hard costs alone, I need to sell roughly 12% of my stock. Let's see if our new layout makes that happen. Major conventions like Hyper Japan allow you to load in the day before the event opens. I booked a specific drop-off slot at Olympia London and my husband helped drive me down. Because my kids had to stay in the car, I made multiple trips back and forth on my own, hauling heavy bags into the venue. Back in January, when Hyper Japan store booking opened, booth spaces sold out almost instantly. Fortunately, based on my experience last year, I already had a specific location in mind and managed to secure it. So I walked straight to where my store was supposed to be. But it turned out, when I arrived, the number on the floor didn't match my booking. I thought I'd made a mistake, so I walked around the massive hall again and again, but my number was nowhere to be found. Eventually, the organizers realized there had been a huge printing mix-up. The entire ground floor market booth numbering was wrong. Luckily, no one had started building on my actual spot yet. I managed to confirm my actual reserved space with the organizers and started unloading my stock. The vendor next to me wasn't as lucky. Their real spot turned out to be on the complete opposite side of the venue, so they had to repack everything they'd just bought in. Since my car trips were done, I lent them my rolling cart to help move their gear. Getting here early during the first loading window saved me from total chaos. Before heading home, I needed to print my exhibitor pass for opening morning. Naturally, the self-service machine glitched and wouldn't print my badge. But a staff member helped me at the service counter and got it sorted. Honestly, at this point, minor hiccups like that don't even count as real trouble. Being early and giving myself buffer time made all the difference. Stock is loaded, passes are printed, and we are officially ready for opening morning. With the booth set up, we headed straight to a local restaurant to refuel. This is actually my third year in business, but Hyper Japan is the only market I do in the entire year. In my first year, I tested tens of small artisan markets almost every single weekend. The store fees were much cheaper, but because my products are so unique, the returns just weren't there. But the biggest reason is my family. My kids still needs me, physically and mentally. I can't be away every weekend. Focusing everything on one major high-impact event lets me pour my energy, time and budget where it actually works without missing out on raising my kids. Morning of day 1, I'm on the bus heading to Olympia, and packed right here in my bag is my secret weapon for surviving the weekend. a homemade lunch. The food options at Hyper Japan are amazing, but when you're working 12-hour days for 3 days straight, you simply can't eat heavy festival food for every single meal. Keeping a healthy, clean diet is actually one of my top priorities to sustain my energy as a small business owner. So I always pack fresh vegetables, fruit, clean protein, and low-fat foods to keep me going. Before heading into the venue, there's just one more essential stop. This neighborhood cafe near Olympia. I only come here once a year during Hyper Japan weekend, but for these 3 days, this exact latte is my official morning fuel. For those who don't know, Hyper Japan is the UK's premier celebration of Japanese culture. Over 30,000 visitors, anime fans, food lovers, and fashion enthusiasts all coming through these stalls. It is high energy, electric, and completely relentless. This weekend, I'm putting our brand right in front of the exact audience who appreciates Japanese craftsmanship. Time to head to the store and get to work.
It's a lot to. It's 12 o'clock, isn't it?
12 o'clock. Yeah, we've got a lot to do. I guess. Is it just you?
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah.
When it comes to my display this year, I kept new purchases to an absolute minimum to control costs. The only new pieces I bought were these specific risers to elevate the pouches and scrunchies so they catch eyes from a distance. For everything else, I used what I already had with a bit of creative problem solving. See these books? These are actually my summer reading books. But right now, they are serving secret secondary purposes as display elevators to add vertical depth to the table. I also brought my entire inventory with me today, just in case. Many of my customers browse my online store year-round, but they love coming to Hyper Japan to see, touch, and try on the pieces in real life. I even draped some of our wrap skirts across the display. They double as feature pieces and gorgeous backdrops. Using what you have with creativity, that's my style. My goal today is to give these vintage fabrics, which are usually tucked away in studio storage, their moment to be seen, touched, and truly loved.
Oh my god! Oh, you got a tail.
Doors opened, and within minutes, the aisle was completely packed. My entry-level pricing strategy hit the mark instantly. People were snapping up keychains and scrunchies right out of the gates, and crafters immediately gravitated toward the remnant sets. Another small strategic decision that made a huge difference was round pricing. Everything is set strictly in £5 increments. No £18 or £26, just straight 20, 35, 45, and so on. It makes mentally adding up multi-item orders effortless and keeps change delivery lightning fast when customers pay with cash. Even my raw fabric bolts from Nippori sold out today. One customer bought a piece to turn into home curtains, and another is using theirs to tailor a custom hat. Knowing these fabrics from my studio stash are going to homes where they'll be truly cherished is such an incredible feeling. Our hero statement pieces moved fast too. A lot of them were snapped up by returning customers who visited my store last year. A few were initially hesitant about the fit, but after trying them on and chatting through the styling, they walked away beaming with this amazing sense of achievement. Honestly, what a feeling that is to share as a maker. By the time the floor closed I had been standing on my feet straight from 9 in the morning until 9 at night. 12 solid hours with maybe one single minute to sit down. Technically, I could have stepped away and asked someone to cover me for a bit, but I genuinely wanted to be there for every single interaction, using my own voice to connect with the people backing my brand. Those clean homemade food I packed this morning literally saved me and kept my energy up all day. Back at home, it's time for my ultimate secret weapon, slapping a cooling plaster sheet onto the soles of my throbbing feet. Day one was an incredible success. Now it's time to rest up and get ready to do it all over again tomorrow. Multiple events like this offer incredible efficiency for exhibitors. Loading and setup take so much physical labor, so being able to operate for 3 days straight makes the high store fee far more cost effective. At the end of each night, all equipment and inventory stay safely in place. We simply cover the tables with protective sheets, and in true zero-waste fashion, even these dust covers are fabrics available for sale. The black tablecloth underneath is also raw craft material from Japan. In my business, every single piece carries multiple roles. Nothing stays idle. Before the doors open for day 2, it's time to make strategic tweaks based on yesterday's sales. Yesterday, heavy denim jackets didn't sell as fast. Attendees said it was just too hot inside. But lightweight silk haori sold incredibly well. So I brought in extra light haori from my studio stash and placed them front. Instead of sewing the denim away entirely, I folded, stuck them directly in the middle of my hanging rack to act as a center counterweight so the rack wouldn't bend. For the boxed pouches, people loved picking them up yesterday, but the higher price point caused hesitation. Because they sell reliably online, I shifted the box pouches to display only units and brought out our lower priced mini pouches for impulse buys. Let's see if these micro adjustments pay off today.
Maybe roll it?
Doors opened. Our bangles and scrunchies took off again. We even sold an obi belt to a shopper who had bought haori from other vendors and needed the perfect accessory to complete their look. Moving that lightweight haori to our primary display spot paid off immediately.
Wow, to the right?
All afternoon, person after person stopped just to touch the silk and try it on in the mirror. Watching so many people appreciate its beauty and craftsmanship was incredible, and before long, it officially found its forever home.
I'm happy for you. I like an oversized jacket as well.
And remember those folded denim jackets? An aunt and niece Jill literally dug one out from the pile, tried it on, and bought it on the spot. They're going to turn heads wearing that out on the street.
Gorgeous.
Then came a fantastic surprise. A customer who browsed with her children yesterday came back today without them, asking where did those boxes pouches go. I pulled out my remaining stock and she bought 2 right there. Our fabric remnant sets kept moving fast too. One customer came back multiple times, completely in love with the vintage silk but unsure how to use it. I showed him a photo of a custom wall hanging from my online store and he placed a custom order on the spot. Hyper Japan stays open until 8 p.m, but crowd traffic dropped significantly after 6 p.m. Saturday is usually a sellout day, but this year ticket prices for Saturday were priced noticeably higher than Friday and Sunday, which kept foot traffic lighter overall. During the quiet moments, I took a quick breath, enjoyed a bit of live music from the stage, and topped up my energy with protein. Even with lower overall footfall, something amazing happened. Average order values were significantly higher. In fact, right before closing, a customer I spoke with first thing in the morning returned after finishing workshops to buy both craft fabric and a bangle. Thanks to those high value purchases, day 2 ended up being my highest revenue day of the entire weekend.
Wow.
Instead of doing late night work at home, I used a long bus ride home to review the day's numbers and plan tomorrow's final push. Early to bed, ready to finish strong on day 3. Friday, to celebrate making it through 2 intense days, I treated myself at my usual morning cafe, not just my latte, but a delicious smoothie too. Once today ends, most of this stock goes back into studio storage until someone finds it on my online store. So for these last few hours, I want every single piece to shine as brightly as possible. As doors open, small items continue to fly off the table. The flowing water, loosely patterned scrunchies I especially crafted for this event officially sold out today. All 6 are gone, but don't worry if you missed out. I still have remnant silk left in the studio, so I'll be dropping another batch on mine. If you want first access, make sure to join my mailing list. Subscribers get an exclusive alert 1 to 2 hours before every monthly drop, so you never miss out. Sunday foot traffic was a bit quieter, giving me space to analyze our store layout for next year. Look at this back wall, it's completely white and flat, but I noticed these built-in peg holes. Next year I can hang fabric wall panels or hanging art here. So many visitors were genuinely shocked when they realized I personally handcraft every single item on this table. Next time, putting up a clear, large banner explaining upcycling process will immediately communicate who I am to anyone walking by. For lunch, I rewarded myself with some Latin Japanese fusion food from the market floor. It sold out before I could get any yesterday, so securing a plate today felt like a huge win. At 5 p.m., the market officially wrapped up. Just as I started packing, my very last customer of the weekend walked up. A wonderful woman who had been selling sake on our floor all 3 days. She worked endlessly all weekend, made great sales, and came over to treat herself to a haori, a bangle, and keychains. Looking back, my store location was a massive reason for my success this year. First, my neighbor was Fuji Kimono, veterans who have been in business in the UK for over 20 years. When you sell complementary items, you naturally attract the exact same passionate audience. Second, we were right next to the restrooms. People naturally become curious about things they see repeatedly. And now, for the final reveal. Across the 3 days, we generated £5,380. Comparing this to last year, total of £3,300. That is an incredible increase of over £2,000 or a 63% growth rate year over year. To me, these numbers aren't just sales figures. They represent votes of confidence in this business. Every single item sold means one less historic Japanese textile ending up in a landfill, one more artisan's story preserved, and one more beautiful, sustainable piece brought into daily life. Thank you so much for walking this entire journey with me. If you enjoyed this peek behind the scenes, hit subscribe, join the newsletter, and I'll see you in the studio next week and back at Hyper Japan next year. またね